Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Our fall term is in session at Sun and Moon Studio in live in Arlington, Virginia, and Fairfax, Virginia, and online here. Check our website for events on October 5th. We'll be having a big party to celebrate our 30 years of community, serving community, of being a community to come together to practice. So a half hour here today, every Sunday that we're in session, 10 o'clock Eastern time and available later. So get what you need. You can see behind me, I've got pretty soft space. We're going to be doing a standing movement in just a moment and segueing to sitting quietly. I've got a cushion nearby for as I sit, I like on one side on my right knee, I need that underneath. So find the support you need. Ask for, conjure up, feel what support you need. So again, welcome everyone. And I think we have a couple folks who are signed up. I'd love to hear if you're here, if you can put in the chat, if you have that capacity to chat and let me know if the sound is good. Um, that'll test it. He should quiet down in just a moment. But distractions do happen. So again, thank you for joining me, Lauren and Allison. I think you were signed up. I don't recognize your names. Welcome. We have a number of other people who join me consistently. Nina, Lana, Jackie, Virginia, Kamalesh, a number of you, and it means a lot. The community, it's what we're celebrating, especially this fall, these 30 years, but also always. So I like to have a guiding theme for myself. I may change the title. I just put it down. I don't even remember what I just put down, but I've been thinking along two lines. I'm thinking along the lines of that there's usually conflict in our lives. There's usually something that's grist for the mill, actually. There's usually something, and how we meet that, I'll talk a little bit about that. There's a couple ways we very humanly meet and very much in a way to protect ourselves. It's useful, but it outlives its usefulness, and how these practices help us to see that more clearly and to start letting go of some of those strategies, and their residue over many years. And the gestures we'll be doing, these two standing gestures, they're a little bit like a warrior one, like a very, very mini warrior one. And the first one is a link of our support, our ground, our place where we are, this earth, the one spot we live on, and our link to the bigger picture, the heavens, God, whatever you call it, the universe, the all, the absolute. And it's this vertical movement, these vertical gestures. So I'm going to shift. Oh, I see. I include today my cat things there on the side. Let's see. Let's change this. So I'll come to standing, and from standing, you might choose to continue in standing for your meditation. You can really choose any position that you like, seated, lying down, or standing. Oh, Rock, I might need that. Don't. I need my scarf. And when we shift, if you do shift from standing, and you could do these gestures in a seated position as well. If you do shift, we'll do the shift as smoothly as possible so we maintain the quieter energy that we will have probably cultivated. So let's begin. You'll need a little space. So if you're seated, I'll guide you through both options. So first, just find yourself where you are without too much adjustment. Just observe. It's very, very useful to, sometimes have somebody else give us feedback. So if you see a practitioner, so or like for PT or for acupuncture, for massage therapy, they can help let you know how your body is because we become so accustomed to it. We don't realize that maybe the right shoulder is higher than the left habitually or something like that. But we do our best to feel for ourselves and notice what we notice. For example, as I tend to my feet, to that starting that where the earth support meets me, I can sort of feel I'm a little bit forward and I'm out on the outsides of my feet. Nothing wrong with that. It's just sort of a go. There's an engaging, and I want to just arrive here. So I'm just shifting a little bit back to the fronts of my heels, and then the long bones of my feet fan out and bear lightly the weight. Those that front part of the foot is more for movement. And we then begin to notice our breathing as we're still tending. Perhaps the first, for me, often the first step is the solidness of my body as it meets the solidness of the support below me. My feet are a bit apart. If you're sitting, you do the same thing. You're feeling where feet touch the ground, where legs touch the chair, where pelvis touches the chair. And as we're standing, we sort of feel we move up from the feet up through the verticality, through the long bones of the legs, and include the joints, the more orbital joints of the orbital. I think I'm making up a word, of the ankles, of the knees, up to the hip joints, and this whole complex pelvic area. You can even mimic some of my motions. Some of these, like this kind of motion, is almost a Tai Chi, a Qigong movement. I'm not expert at these, but I've dabbled in both, more in Qigong. And then there's the spine, the stack of 24 bones that sits atop the sacrum, that sacred bone in the low back. And I'm massaging my own SI joints, the where the hip bones meet the sacral bone, meet and close to where the spine begins. Feeling the spine and imagining a lengthening upward as we keep rooted downward. So we're in touch with ground, but we lift up our arms. I'm all kind of going into the first gesture, but not really yet. It's got a little refinement. But just to feel that verticality and connect upward, tune into the breath that's always here. I'm going to put my hands on my heart as I notice breath, at this organ that circulates blood, oxygen, carbon dioxide, circulates. Just noticing what you notice about your own breath. A big part of the way I approach practice is inquiry is always present, even if we're and during meditation, it's present, but in a very small amount. In this part of our practice, it can be bigger. It's really taking in the sensory information, the feeling, emotional information, and even the cognitive information that comes, or the memories or the dreams. So ground, sound, a breath, and then sound as we might open your arms out and just listen for the sounds that are coming to you from around you. I hear a hum from outside. I hear an insect hum. I hear my own voice. I even hear my breath a little bit. What is it you're hearing, and how does the hearing, the the listening feel? What do you notice? And part of this pointer to pay attention to our hearing and listening is to connect us with all that we're surrounded by, all that we're an integral part of. We are not separate from all the surroundings close by and far away and to infinity that we can't even know really with our limited minds. We try in space travel and science. All right, so let's place our feet now. And even if you're in a chair, you can do this. Bring your right foot in front. So my right foot is a little in front and pointed to the side. You can't see that in the video, but I'm just going to shift my weight to the right foot and back to the left, as if as if the shifting is happening from this what I my teacher and I call the golden ball in the deep lower belly, the lower dantian, if you know that term, around the second chakra in the yogic method. Just shifting weight as if initiated by this golden ball. And then from the next time you're on your back foot, your left foot, let your arms raise as you look forward, weight coming to the front right foot. And exhale back. It will do an inhale. So it's a little like a tiny, tiny warrior one. We're looking forward. And this gesture, the symbolism of it as you can feel how the weight of your as you shift it into your front leg, there's a pushing down, but we're also initiating, even from the golden ball, a lift up through our whole body upward. And so there's this connection of ground and heaven, earth and heaven. And there are many, many movements and many traditions that, like I think in Qigong, it's something heaven and earth, combining heaven and earth from various energetic practices. And let's stay now in the position with the arms raised. Maybe the front knee is a little bit bent. I'm off my heel is lifted on my left foot, but I've got that support of the ball of the foot and the toes of the left foot. I'm just looking forward. Could have your eyes closed, but looking forward with eyes even a little open just helps place us that we're not just our body. We are this whole our beingness extends to all around us. And on the next exhale, bring your arms down, step the feet back. So if you're seated, just bring both feet to be parallel again. And take note here. So such a powerful practice. Even and especially if what we're taking note of is not happy, is conflictual, is it could be a lot of it is that way, could be a fraction. So we're not rejecting anything. Breath. Right. For the next one, the second and last one before we segue to meditation is the left foot forward. And so I forgot to say till the end when we should just play with shifting your weight from right foot, right leg and foot that are in back to the left. And you might write off really powerful tool of our mind is that we are able to notice contrast. And there's something in my movement that is different, something in the back tailbone area that feels so different than the other side. I'm not exactly sure even how to put it in words, but the noticing of it and a little bit paying attention to it is so helpful. My cat is watching me like, what are you talking about? As he scratches his back against the couch. There's a dog and a cat present, and maybe the other cat is somewhere here. So now we'll do the movement from the back foot. On an exhale, we'll take our arms up and look up. And then inhale, bringing the gaze back down or to neutral, to forward, and the arms down on the inhale. And again, on the back foot, the heel lifts, but the The ball and toes can still press into the ground. So, especially feel the soles of the feet, even as you're feeling your whole self. It's a little weird for us yogis who do a lot of the arms up movement is usually an inhale. So, this is an exhale and looking up. And what does this gesture remind you of? And then keep the arms up, keep the gaze upward. It's sort of like a child asking to pick me up, mom, pick me up, dad, pick me up, help me, lift me up. And one more in breath and out breath, feeling all of yourself as we come back, arms down, step the foot back. I think I have a feel I did that side a little bit less than the first side, and that's okay. Notice the energy of your mind, the activity level may be different. The way your body is positioned, how each part is stacked, even if you're lying down, how the positioning, if you did this, I didn't really give instructions from lying down, but it could be done from lying down. Standing seated, um, air quotes, better, just different. There are different effects. Very powerful for the earth and heaven connection from standing and seated. And perhaps in this moment, and perhaps you may notice that the energy, your whole being feels a little quieter, a little more yin than yang. And you might just ask into yourself if there's anything that needs your needs or wants your attention or your your yeah, attention. Maybe it's a question, maybe it's a conflict, maybe it's a physical challenge, pain, and just recognize that need, that question without grasping at an answer. Our tendency is to move quickly toward wanting the answer. Not a bad impulse, but if we don't really fully hear and feel the question, which takes time, especially for the body components to be blended in. The mind is quick, quick, quick. The body, especially the issues in the tissues that have been there for years, maybe generations, they're slower to emerge and make themselves known. That's when you're ready. If you're going to transition, make your transition to a seated position from standing, or maybe you were seated and you want to lie down for the next part. Maybe you decide which positions you're going to take. So even though that was movement, meditation I usually think of as it's stillness and silence. And we're just being and observing our breath. Using my cushion a little differently than I had planned. Sometimes that happens. So hopefully, or the intent was that as we transitioned kind of smoothly, we didn't disturb. We kind of held on to that the level of brain waves that are a bit quieter. And so do what you need to make sure that the position now, to your best knowledge, I'm looking around myself, I need one more prop, will support you through this meditation time, which will be about 8 minutes. And I'll ring the bell, which doesn't come across that great and through this YouTube uh, portal, but you can see it and you can kind of hear it. Ring the bell to start the 8-minute meditation and to end it. Have a great journey. The yogis, the ancient yogis, in their practiced and many generations of wisdom, have taught us that one of our key sources of suffering is that we mistake the temporal for the eternal. What does that mean? What does that mean? We mistake things that things that everything changes, and we hold precious these things, and we have this some sort of hope or thought that there's just something we can do to keep things in the status quo, to keep ourselves, to keep our contentment, to keep our identity, to hold on to how we feel and think, that there would be some comfort in that. But I'm pretty sure you know, and as experience, we all know, even things that last for a long, long time, eventually everything that is manifest changes. And sometimes they go on to say, sometimes the way that we cope with these discomforts, unwanted states, are to either hold on tightly, which can be useful in some purpose, in some instances, maybe to protect ourselves, even if it's just psychically. And the other strategy is to push things away. I don't want that. And again, both of those have usefulness, if sometimes to protect us, but invariably they're they're working and struggling against uh, an illusion that we can keep things the same way. And when we begin to see that, that's where we begin to feel more freedom. And the maturity of our lives, the evolution and maturity of our lives, is that we can come to see more clearly, come to step back and get a bigger perspective. Can come to bring compassion to the injured and struggling parts of ourself or a situation. And the perspective connects us to more of the pieces that are present and the wisdom that's available. And most of the time, you have to check this out, but it is my experience, it makes the next obvious step obvious. When we finally realize we've been responding with a huge tense anger at a certain situation that happens again and again and again, and we give it some space, we allow ourselves to see it, we give it, like, we step back, take the backward step, as they say in Zen. We get a little distance from it and we see maybe there's another way to react. that will not cause so much pain to myself and possibly others. Additional pain. We can't escape pain, but we can learn there can be less suffering on top of those pains. I've been talking all through this silent, still meditation, and I'm going to be quiet mostly, if not all, for the next 3 minutes, just to allow us to practice that listening, that presence, that step back. Because tension has a way of creeping in, sometimes unconscious to us, and tension is often an offering of support, so it's not a totally bad thing. But again, it outlives its usefulness. And so if we take a moment to notice, invite to see that tension, we might see that it's possible to let it go and still be safe and present, leaning into gravity and earth and the vertical band for support. Just check in before we close the practice, which I do with a bow. Just see what you feel, notice, scan, as if from a little distance, as if from a step back. It could be something, some messages through words that are coming to you. It could be through some sensations of the body, some differences on the right and left. And all this is super valuable, as I mentioned earlier, to linger a little bit longer with what is here, that question and that welcoming, that watching before we move toward solution, toward answer, toward next step, because taking the time, listening to those things that have been hidden a while that are in a way shy, afraid, they take a little longer. Like these cats I adopted 2 years ago, they're still, well, one of them's super friendly. The other is still slowly, every day we get, like, some little bit more coming out of his shell after 2 years. So, with our bodies and the reactions that have been stored, as I said, again, from not just our lifetime, but likely from past generations, very useful to give it space, safe space. And then the more pieces that we have, the more truth we have from our hearts, our bodies, our mind, together, the clearer we can see and the better we can serve and go forward. Thank you. Thank you, Allison, for your comment there. It's nice. It's the only way I can know you're here, really, that, and it tells me that how many people are there. Thank you so much. See you next week, I hope, or you can come back. There are lots and lots of videos on our YouTube page you can lean into. During pandemic, we, started on, oof, I don't know if it was like March 24th or some mid-March that year. And there are lots of great short yoga practices, meditation practices. They're just a half hour or even shorter that you can lean into if you feel like you need support that way. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Ciao, ciao. Oh, here's a glimpse of the animals. Let me see if I can. Whoops, there's the cat. There's the dog. And there's lots of cat stuff.